My 28 male, wife, 29 female, slept with my best friend's brother a couple months ago, and I just found out. Please be advised that this will be a lengthy article. So I've been married to my wife for a little more than a decade. We met in high school, began dating, and eventually married after college. We are one another's first and only romantic connection. In general, we've had a really good connection. We seldom argue, we still enjoy spending time together, and we are unquestionably great friends. Until lately, marriage had been simple and joyful. She sat me down one evening in November to chat about our life. We've never been very active in the bedroom, but it's never been a major issue. She's always told me that she's not person, and I've always respected that. It's fantastic when we have no troubles there. But she informed me that night that she'd lost all passion/desire for me. She was kind about it, but she didn't sugarcoat it. She said that she just does not want it anymore. I assured her that I was aware of her situation. I was wounded, no sure, but I felt that this was a normal occurrence in a relationship that had lasted since high school. Especially because none of us has ever had relations with another individual. To some degree, I still believe that. To cut a long story short, we discussed for a couple of hours and decided that this was not good news for our marriage. We didn't make any major choices that night, but we decided to take some time to think and reflect before having another chat in a few weeks. When that time arrived, she informed me that there were several things I needed to work on that would help her regain some desire. It all came down to the fact that I wasn't making her a priority enough, and I hadn't made her feel beautiful, unique, or appealing in a long time, and she mentioning that she always thought he was pretty, which wasn't a huge thing at the time. We're always honest about that type of stuff. But I had no clue they texted each other. I assumed it was a happy birthday SMS, but I wasn't certain. I debated whether or not to open it for a few moments. I'd never been a snoop, and I'm not fond of the thought of reading her messages, but this seemed strange. Maybe it was the wine, but I had the feeling things wasn't quite right. As a result, I opened it. It wasn't a happy birthday message. To save this narrative from growing much longer, I'll simply say that I discovered a 2-month-old exchange of SMS and photos. The language and images were of an adult nature and rather graphic. I deduced that they met and up in December when she was in his town visiting an old buddy. They didn't seem to have since then, but they were on a regular basis. I contemplated if I was dreaming for nearly 5 minutes before concluding that I was awake. Was correct. I'll confess it. As a result, I made it my aim to work on it. And everything went off without a hitch. After a few weeks of focused effort, our life rekindled. Actually, it's better than ever. It was incredible. Hooray for forthrightness and self-improvement. Then, 2 nights ago, I discovered a slew of text messages that I wasn't meant to view. It was my wife's birthday, and we'd gotten a little tipsy with some friends. She eventually went to bed, and I remained up a little later. When I went to bed, I discovered that my phone had died and that my charger was in another room. I assumed I'd borrow her phone to set my AM alarm since I was too drunk and lazy to go fetch it. I grabbed it, saw that she had received a text from my best friend's brother, who lives a few hours away, and was at a loss for words. We last saw him at my best friend's wedding about 8 months ago, and I remember my wife enter a new level of agony and nausea that I've never felt before. Because I was affected by bourbon, I decided to raise her to her feet and confront her about it. She started by denying everything, but she was still highly drunk, half asleep, and unable to communicate coherently with the rest of us. When she had regained consciousness a bit more, she recognized everything. What I had surmised from the writings had been confirmed. After that, she spent some time criticizing me, alleging that my previously stated lack of marital priorities had caused her to leave me for another man. For the majority of the conversation, I was an abusive jerk, calling her. If you've never accidentally found your high school sweetheart turned clear wife's infidelity, I sincerely apologize for my acts that night. But if you have, I sincerely apologize for my actions. We had another conversation yesterday, this time while we were both sober. It was still a poor conversation, but was at least a bit more courteous. She acknowledged responsibility for her actions, expressed heartfelt apologies, and instructed me to take care of myself. The trouble is that I have absolutely no idea what I want to accomplish with my life. Like a result, I've gone to you for advice, just as so many others have done before me. Because I don't want to be around her right now, she had to leave on a work trip for a few days, which was really good timing because I'm just sitting here wallowing in self-pity and thinking what to do next. I admire and respect this woman with all of my heart, yet I also loathe her at the moment. What would you do? Is the question I'm posing to you all. Divorce seems to be a straightforward option, but I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around it right now. Isn't it true that people come back after being betrayed? Is she, in fact, a horrible person from whom I should distance myself in order to concentrate on restarting my life? I'm not sure what I'm thinking. I'm at a loss on what to do. On the plus side, it makes me appreciate how easy my life has been in comparison to other situations, and I'm at a loss for what to do in this situation. Thank you for reading this and taking the time to do so. Please accept my apologies if this was too long or confusing at any point. I needed to get things off my chest and out of my head in order to begin thinking about the next steps. Everyone on this list is in my thoughts and prayers. Story 2. 3 years later, I had 2 random connecting dreams. My ex-wife had an affair with another man 3 years ago, and we have since separated and moved on. I was able to get my life back on track, and I'd even met a new love interest along the way. I had 2 nightmares involving my present girlfriend cheating on me at random. It was strange since the sensation came from her, yet she did not seem to be my girlfriend. But in any case, we went to a club/rave, and she was thrilled to show me around, since I'd never been to a rave before and was anxious about dancing in front of other people. She demonstrated some fundamental dancing routines, and then a random man appears and displays his own skills to me. My girlfriend enjoyed it, and then the 2 of them just walk away. He takes a seat next to her, and she sits on his lap, while I'm kind of sitting at a table behind them wondering what the hell is going on. There is some confusion over what occurred next, but I recall pushing my seat back and firmly requesting that she sit on my lap, which she dutifully obliges. I start to feel quite uneasy and distrustful of others. I'm sure you've all had that gnawing sensation. After that, I had a nosebleed and had to get up. My girlfriend was completely asleep next to me. I took care of it and then went back to sleep, and my dream essentially continues in the same confusing location as the previous one. This time she's standing up and I'm talking on the phone with her. She essentially instructs me to start planning our next move and to look things up while she takes a break for a few minutes. I was attempting to accompany her, but she was adamant, supplying me with a list of tasks that we needed to do. After that, our closet comes behind her, and I see the ashy feet of this man who is hidden behind the clothing, and I freak out. As soon as my stomach starts to sink, all of those feelings come pouring back. I yell at him and tell him to get lost, and then I start yelling at my girlfriend. What gave you the right to do this to me? What exactly am I trying to communicate to you? It goes on and on like that until I wake up feeling exactly the same way as I felt after discovering I'd been cheated on in the first place. It took a long time for me to fall asleep again, but I finally did and woke up as if nothing had occurred at all. The nagging sensations had vanished, and I was looking forward to getting ready for Christmas with my girlfriend. Because I'm sure some people will inquire, we have been together for 2 years as of August of this year. I know her to be a ride or die kind of person, and integrity is the one word that comes to me when I think of her. My connection with my partner has been the healthiest and most easy I have ever experienced. That being said, my trust and feeling of security have not yet been restored, but I am trying hard every day to reestablish them, and she has played an important role in this process. She is a wonderful human being with whom you may build a long-term relationship that will last forever. She's intelligent, goal-oriented, and tremendously supportive of others. I am quite optimistic about our future together.